Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the July 17th, 2018 edition of Our City, shown live right here in the Mayor's office in the City Hall at Muscatine. We have a lot of information to get to, so I want to scoot right along. We are going to start with a really good treat that I get to do every year. We have the Queens, the Little Miss Muscatine girls. As soon as the pageant's over, then they come and visit with me in the city, and we go upstairs, we check out the council room, I take them all around and give them a tour, and they always like to take their turn hitting the gavel, which is always fun. So we've got some pictures from that. We wanted to One thing I really enjoy about Judy Connor, and of course she heads this up and has for many years, but one thing I really like about this program is that it's not all just about a beauty contest with them. They spend the entire year giving back to the community, doing volunteer work, doing different food drives, going to the nursing homes and reading to people. They've came and visited me at city council meeting a couple times and went through all the different things that they do. So I enjoy that. Teaching them volunteerism, that's something that the earlier you can have your children embrace that, the better it's going to be. We all need to have learned a lifetime of volunteering, and this is a really good program for that. Beautiful girls, talented girls, and very giving to the community. They're all going somewhere, I can guarantee you, so that was such a fun treat. Next, I'd like to tell you about the Pearl City Players. We went to a play this weekend, The Enchanted Bookshop. It was so cute. So the story, it was about a bookstore, and a lady ran a bookstore, and some burglars actually put hid a necklace in a book, and then some robbers came to try to get it, and the books came to life to try to help the bookstore owner. And they were all of the fairy tales. So you'll see, the Little Miss Muppet, you'll see Little Red Riding Hood. These are the crooks, these are the burglars. They were so good. So good. The Wizard of Oz and all of those. These are in between each scene. They had little children come out and read a nursery rhyme, recite it actually. So they did Twinkle Twinkle Little Star and Little Miss Muppet and all of those. It was so fun. Pollyanna, Pippi Longstocking. It was a really good show. And it's really teaching these kids at an early age how to embrace the arts. They have so much fun and they work so hard. So they've been practicing for months. And these last 2 weeks, every single night they practiced. And they really put on a good show. It was really great to see. There was a write-up in Voice of Muscatine newspaper in case you happened to get a chance to see it. But I wanted to just quote to you, Callie Van Zandt, the president of the Pearl City Players, said, "Giving the youth of Muscatine and surrounding towns an outlet to perform on stage and learn the acting craft." It was just amazing. If you ever get a chance, they do these 2 or 3 or 4 a year, so don't miss out next time. Next, I'd just like to show you a couple photos. This past Saturday was Second Saturday, and the theme was Summer Games. And I know they had a lot of people come down. It was still a little bit hot. It's cooled down a little bit now, but they had a really good turnout, and everybody that went has shared that they've had a good time. And so if you haven't got a chance to get down to one of the Second Saturdays yet this year, make sure you get down there for the one in August. I heard this guy was a great singer. Everybody enjoyed it. It was a really good time. So set your clocks for that next time. They did all kinds of different games. They had vendors, they had some food vendors. So people came and stayed for actually a couple of hours and had a really nice time. Lastly, before we get to our guest, I'd just like to share with you that today at City Hall, We had the youth group from First Baptist Church did a scavenger hunt almost all day, and they spent the entire morning and most of the afternoon going from organization and business to the next. So they stopped here to visit me in City Hall. They went to MCSA. They went to the library. They went to the flower gallery. Just every single place that it was arranged for them to go. The business was warm and inviting and very happy to be on board. So they asked me if I would give a shout out of thanks to everybody for participating in their scavenger hunt. The children had a great time. And you know, what a great way to learn all of the different activities and buildings and things that they have in our community by going door to door. So it was a great time. Next, we're going to get to our first guest. Finally, we have Bonnie Nichols with MCSA, and she's here to talk to us about the programs that they have. Welcome, Bonnie.
Thanks for having me today.
Thanks for coming.
Exciting.
Oh, we're so glad. Hey, you guys are just on the heels of one of your big fundraisers.
We are. So, you know, fireworks stand was a big deal for us. June 2nd, we got the go-ahead that we were moving forward with having that stand again this year. And so that involved lining up a whole bunch of volunteers.
So it's actually your stand.
Actually, Hy-Vee
Hy-Vee
has a stand.
Okay.
And they reached out to us and said, hey, we have this stand on our property. If you man this tent, you can have the proceeds.
All of them?
All of them.
Oh my goodness.
Yes.
I thought last year you got a portion of the...
Well, we get the portion, I mean, we don't get all this, you know, the fireworks company gets
Sure. Oh,
their
yes,
portion.
yes. The profits.
Profit.
Yes.
So we get a percentage of what is sold. So, yes. So
Very
last
good.
year, Hy-Vee brought that opportunity to us. So Jim Simmons is on our board at MCSA, and, you know, Hy-Vee is just so generous and giving, and I mean, you just can't say enough good things about Hy-Vee.
And, you know, it's probably a win-win.
Yes.
Because they get to have, you know, bring the customers into their area on their property. And you guys take turns manning the tent also?
We manned the tent. So Hy-Vee took the final on July 4th. They manned the tent.
Okay.
Because that's a hard day to get folks, and they already have people working. So,
but other than that, you're volunteers.
Volunteers.
Wow.
Yes. So let me just give you an idea. It was 117 volunteers that signed in.
Wow.
So I'm sure there were a few more that didn't sign in. And from what I could tell from those 117, it was 582 volunteer hours.
Oh, that's a lot of giving.
In the heat and the rain and, you know, the storms and all of that. And Chad here was one of those special volunteers.
Oh, nice. You know what? I saw him, he came here to set up and for our show after he had helped assemble the tent.
Yes. That was a
I heard
hot
about
day.
that day.
A hot and rainy day.
Yes.
So, but we couldn't have done it without all these folks.
Sure.
Last year we had over 90 volunteers, so this year a few more. And last year, MCSA, our profits were $15,000.
Wow.
We're hoping, based on what we've seen so far, that we've exceeded that this year.
Oh,
but
that'd
we
be
won't
amazing.
know for probably a few more weeks. You know, you have to send all the fireworks back.
Oh,
and
sure.
they inventory everything. But, you know, it's just one of those things that we couldn't do without all the support that we get from our community. You know, our volunteers are amazing.
Sure. You know, I'm never ever surprised, or maybe I'm always surprised about the level of commitment that the volunteers in our community do. They give back and they give back, and not just of their time, but their talent,
absolutely,
their finances, and I mean, we just live in a wonderful community that is giving to each other always.
We do. There's a picture of Tony.
Trying to sell.
Absolutely. So we had one family in particular that there was 3 of them, and they logged over 48 hours, family. And then there were 3 other individuals that logged 20 hours each. So, I mean, it's just...
Oh, yes.
It just warms your heart.
It sure does. It sure does. people wanting to do the right thing and
Yes.
be a friend.
Yes.
Yep.
And the fireworks tent has a lot of fun
Oh,
activity,
sure.
a good
Oh, I
vibe.
bet.
Lots of people coming in.
I
And
bet everybody
It's not
getting
boring.
excited. No. I bet. I'm sure you did a couple shifts.
I did. Just a few.
I bet. Oh, yes. Oh, how fun.
So anyways, we just, want to give a big shout out to those
sure.
volunteers.
And, it wouldn't be possible without Hy-Vee,
Absolutely.
and they are continually giving to every single project.
Yes.
I mean, you don't call them very often and ask for help that you don't
Right.
get it.
Right.
Yes.
And a shout out to Tony Tone too
Oh,
for all
sure.
of his publicity around it. I mean, he's
Oh, sure.
all of them.
Yep.
So
Win-win,
Win-win,
always.
yes.
That's right. Well, I wanted to ask you a couple questions about the Adopt-A-Day.
Okay.
Can you explain that program?
I can. So the Adopt-A-Day started back in 2013, and it's a program where we reach out to businesses, churches, civic groups, and we're asking them to adopt a day, give us support to keep our doors open. So the number we have is if you could give us $1,500, you'll be listed as our Adopt-A-Day sponsor for a particular day.
Okay. Because you estimate $1,500 is about what it takes.
Correct. Yep. And so, it's just what we typically do is we would promote that business or group that day. We have typically a door outside of our MCSA that we put out for this special purpose and says Adopt-A-Day sponsor.
Sure.
And we'll list their name. We'll promote it on Facebook and Twitter and that type of thing. So it's just a nice way to recognize our supporters.
Oh, sure.
Yep.
So do you have a lot of Adopt-A-Day sponsors?
We do. So we try to fill every day in August, September, and October.
And that carries you through the winter?
Well, it doesn't.
Or we hope it does.
Right. I mean,
It would be
helps.
nice if it did.
Right.
Yes.
Yes. And so, so we do ask for $1,500 to be listed as a full day sponsor, but our donors are going to give us a gift anywhere from $100 to $5,000, $6,000. So,
Sure.
we're not going to say, oh, you can't give us $1,500 and you
Sure.
can't participate. It's open to everybody to participate.
Sure.
And we have had some families give a gift and want it to go as a memorial to a loved one.
Oh, how nice
or
of an
to
idea.
celebrate somebody's birthday or anniversary, that type of thing. So we're very flexible.
Oh, sure.
And we've had people pick a date outside of that time frame of August through October, and we'll work with anybody.
Yep.
But it's a nice fundraiser. It's the one that we do target mainly the businesses.
Sure.
And we have other fundraisers throughout the year that we're reaching out to individuals. But if someone wants, if an individual wants to participate in Adopt-A-Day, we will not turn them away. So,
Oh, I bet not.
yeah.
And it really is a great mission too. And I love the idea of giving in other people's names. My husband and I started years ago, instead of buying a gift, when you know people that have everything and don't need one more knick-knack,
Right.
giving a donation in their name, and then I just give them a copy of the check and
Yes.
the card, and that makes them feel good too, and you're helping out, and
Yes.
I just think it's a great idea. And I think if
Absolutely.
more and more people were able to do that, and it could help organizations and your mission.
Absolutely. We have folks that give a gift and they want it anonymous. They don't want
Sure.
anybody to know, and we honor that. And this is, I believe, the 4th year the Howe family is also providing matching funds for new donors.
Oh, nice.
Or if someone gives more than they gave the previous year. So, we really want to try to use up
those
that matching money.
Oh,
So,
yes. Get as much as you can for
Yes.
those matching dollars.
So the Howe family's been very generous to MCSA,
Sure.
as the whole community.
Oh, sure.
You know,
Sure.
it's just wonderful. So
Well, the Y, I don't know if you know, the Y used to have the contract to help at the homeless shelter, so we did case management, and I did that.
okay,
But since we don't have the contract, we let that go years ago as we were getting more and more programming in ourselves. But the services and programs that you do at MCSA have just really multiplied.
absolutely.
So it's not just providing the homeless shelter for families or the
Right.
gym or the upstairs apartments for
Right.
single men, but you're really doing a lot more on the prevention side.
We are. And I was going to just tell you a few of the numbers, for Adopt a Day. Last night we had 18 folks sleeping in our family shelter. 6 of them were children.
Okay.
11 men were sleeping in our overnight emergency shelter in the gym. We had 32 men renting rooms on the second floor. And our domestic violence shelter had 5 folks, 5 women, actually 3 women and 2 children. And that again is at a separate undisclosed
And that's just
location.
one night.
One night. So last year we had 104 children, both at MCSA and the domestic violence shelter. We had 231 adults at MCSA in the shelter area, 42 men rented rooms upstairs, and the DV shelter had 39. So, that's a lot of different folks we're helping.
Yes, it is.
And you had mentioned our homeless prevention program. Last year, 222 households were helped by our homeless prevention program. 319 children with 273 adults were able to stay in their home or in a home and avoid coming to the shelter.
And isn't that our goal?
That is our goal.
Wouldn't you love to be put out of business?
That's what we say.
Yes.
We say that program competes with us, but wouldn't that be wonderful?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yes. Less trauma for the entire family. And I love some of the things that you have done recently, like making sure that the children that are staying at the shelter get picked up first on the bus, so the other children don't have to know where they're staying.
Right.
And they get to go to their same school.
Same school, same friends, same teachers.
Yes. So nobody needs to know that their families are in crisis, and maybe a little part of their life can remain unchanged and stable. And what a difference that must make to that child, rather than, okay, now you got to go to a new school too, and new friends and all of these things. So.
Absolutely. I have a story. There was a lady, 2 ladies that came to the fireworks tent when I was there one morning, and they bought just a little fireworks sword, I think, for a birthday gift or something. And they said, oh, we wanted to come support MCSA because we stayed at the shelter.
Oh, really?
And they wanted to give back.
Oh, how nice.
And then they said this sword thing that they had bought, they said, my daughter thought she was in a hotel. So that was the feeling that they had while they were staying there. And isn't that great for a child to not feel like they're in some...
It sure is.
Yeah.
Not in some dungeon or dreary or anything like that. Well, I know your staff have worked so hard to make it be a home. And to be able to keep them from ever coming on top of it. The prevention efforts and the rapid rehousing and all those different things that you're working on are just... they're amazing for our community. The amount of people that you're able to help. We have, another whole story we could talk about is the Alice report, and how many people are, so many dollars away from needing your services.
Yep. And we're just happy that we're able to be there.
Oh, I'm so glad.
And, with folks coming to buy fireworks, volunteering, folks participating in the Adopt a Day, we wouldn't be able to do it. No. We wouldn't be able to provide our services. We wouldn't. So I did want to mention one quick thing. We have the Downtown Wellness Clinic coming to MCSA in August. So I just wanted to put that out there. It's a partnership with Trinity Muscatine Public Health.
Okay.
They've hired a RN, and she'll come into our building on Tuesdays and Thursdays, the same day that the dental clinic is there.
Oh, nice.
So it's a walk-in clinic. We received funding from the, now my brain is going to freeze here. The Muscatine Health Support Foundation.
Oh, yes.
And so we're really excited to fill another gap in the community for folks downtown. It's not just for folks staying at MCSA.
Okay.
We realize that folks in poverty, your health is one of the very bottom rung items that get taken care of. So we're just really excited that this is in the works and will be coming. So we like to say it's in our garden level. So down in our basement, we're really excited. So I'm watching for that sometime in August.
It'll be a good addition with, you've got the pediatric dentistry clinic clinic down there.
Yes.
Got the eye clinic
Yes.
for adults.
We have Robert Young Mental
Robert Young
Health,
is down there.
Family Empowerment,
yes.
the Jubilee Community Center.
Yes.
Lots of great things
It
going
is. It is. I just love how over the last few years you've been able to, not that you haven't been doing it before, but really been able to think outside the box and change the whole outlook on the community looking in, as well as the people living there and how they look out.
Yes.
And your executive director left you lately.
Yes.
Recently, Charlotte, but she's staying in the nonprofit world. So
She is, and she'll spread her magic over
sure
at the
she
Community
will.
Foundation.
Sure she will, and you're in good hands.
We're in
with
very
Scott
good hands with
Dahlke
Scott.
and you.
Yes.
Which you keep saying you're going to retire, and we're glad you keep sticking around.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
Any parting things that you wanted to share? What was the date again of when the clinic's going to start in August?
We don't necessarily have a specific date.
Okay.
August is, I don't know if it'll be the first.
Oh, okay. Somewhere
we'll
in there.
We'll be spreading.
Keep
some,
watching
yes.
for the news.
Yep,
Okay.
absolutely.
Okay.
So we're really excited about that. Adopt a Day, starting August 1st, we'll start listing our Adopt a Day sponsors.
Okay.
So anybody, that we haven't reached out to and
All right.
wants to participate, please reach out to us.
And you have a Facebook page,
We have our Facebook page. We have a Twitter page.
so people can like you on Facebook and they'll see all the updates and things like that
Absolutely.
going on.
Absolutely.
Very good. Very good. Okay.
Well,
Sounds very good.
thanks so
Thank
much
you
for
so much
having
for
us.
coming. Maybe after you get the clinic up and running, we'll have to have you back.
Absolutely.
Because we'd like to hear more about that so that more people in the community can access that.
Wonderful.
All right.
Thanks so much.
Thank you, Bonnie. We appreciate it. Well, as we're setting up to move on to our next guest, I wanted to share with you a press release and make sure that you're aware that we have a public meeting about the Grandview Avenue Corridor Project, and that is going to be held July 19th at the new library. This is going to be the second public meeting on the Grandview Corridor Project. We already had one back in February. This is a great opportunity for you to not only ask questions about what's going on with the Grandview project, but also give your ideas, share your comments. Bolton and Mink will be there, city staff will be there. They'll be there, they can answer your questions, they can hear your concerns. Sometimes we come up with, I've heard different times when people in the community have came up with ideas that other people hadn't thought of. And so it's a really good opportunity for you to get your voice out there. We're expecting that the first phase is going to be done in 2019, so we can look forward to getting all the way through that corridor soon, hopefully. Well, we are ready for our next guest, and we have with us Dale McCrae. He is the Muscatine County Assessor, and he knows everything there is to know about property values and taxes and how that all works. Right, Dale?
Well, most of it.
Thank you for coming, Dale.
Not a problem.
We appreciate it. This document that you sent me, Assessment and Taxation, where can the folks find that?
It was prepared for legislators.
Okay.
But as I was sitting here thinking about this, I think we'll put it on our website. And
I
so you
think
can go
people
to
would
the assessor's
yeah.
website, Muscatine County, and go find the assessor on
Sure.
there, and we'll make it available because it is a complicated situation.
It is.
People have a lot of misconceptions about our office and what we do.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is a way to maybe educate people and give them a better idea of not only how we establish the values, but also if they feel that we're not correct, how they can protest it,
Mm-hmm.
how their values affect the taxes and the tax rate is set and those various different things. So
Sure.
yes, I think tomorrow I'll try and get it out on the website.
Great. Well, one of the questions that a lot of elected officials, including myself, that we get is, how come our property taxes are going up again, and they don't really always understand that they're made up of 3 different entities, right?
Actually, they're made up of more than 3.
More than 3,
But there's
okay.
3 major
3
ones.
major. Can you explain that?
The supervisors, the county has a budget that is part of it. The schools have a budget that is part of it. And then the cities, the incorporated cities, all have a portion of that tax rate. and then you throw in various other things like there's actually a TB eradication file, I think, and
Yes.
some other things. If you look on your tax statement,
It breaks
there's a
it down.
breakdown of all the various taxing bodies that are involved.
So if one of those entities actually needed to raise their levy, then the person's taxes would go up. It doesn't necessarily mean that all of them raise them.
Correct.
And it could also be that the value of their home changed.
Correct.
How does that work?
Just the document spells out a little bit about that,
Okay.
because theoretically, the way that the taxes work is you have your budgets for the governmental bodies. We have a basic assessed value. You divide that and come up with your tax rate and apply it to each one. Now, the Muscatine School District has a tax rate versus Wilton versus West Liberty, Columbus Junction, so those may vary.
Okay.
There's tax rates that vary by township. Typically, in the city of Muscatine, the tax rate is the same across the board, except where the L&M school district is versus the Muscatine
Okay.
School District.
So everybody in Muscatine County doesn't necessarily have the same.
Not the same rate.
Right. Well, I know because my brother lives in the county, not in the city, and his taxes are way different than ours because we live in the city.
Right.
So he doesn't have that piece on his.
Exactly.
Okay.
And the city has a very minimal part of the county budget. And, you know, if you're interested in finding all that out, the auditor's office is the one who is actually in charge of the tax rates and such.
Okay. So what you do is every year or every other year, how often do you check out somebody's property to reevaluate what the value of it is?
Well, we have approximately 28,000 parcels. And
Okay.
so what we're doing
In the
is
city of Muscatine?
in the county.
In the county, okay.
So that includes the agricultural, you know, the bare land, it includes everything.
Uh-huh.
And so what we've tried to do, and working in the process, is getting onto, for the residential and the commercial, the industrial properties, we're trying to do basically a review of physical walkthrough once every 6 years.
Okay.
Now, we also look at the permits, and we'll go out and take those. If their sale comes through and it's outside the range of value that we feel it should be, we'll go look at it to see if there's extenuating circumstances for that. People call us and say, you know, we've taken a building down, we'll go review that. We also just drive. We are out on the road a lot.
Okay.
We put a lot of miles on the county vehicle and some of our own vehicles. Just driving the county, especially, and driving the city. But fortunately, in the city, we have a pretty good permitting system, so we can keep track of that. We still find things
Okay.
that either don't require a permit, or somebody didn't get it, or we didn't get it.
So if you didn't do anything like build a new bathroom or add a deck or anything that would require a permit, and you lived in the city, how often would you take a look at the value of that home and property?
Every 2 years.
Every 2 years?
Every 2 years,
Okay.
we're required to look at the sales that we have compared to the sale to our assessed values. We look at that, and we've broken the city down, for example, into multiple, what we call map areas or neighborhoods, and they're typical market areas. And so we will run an analysis on each of those once a year, sometimes twice a year, sometimes 3 times a year, just to see where the trend is going.
Okay.
And so we may make an adjustment across the board for that neighborhood.
Oh, for the whole
without-
neighborhood.
For the whole
Okay.
neighborhood, or, you know, in some cases, the whole class of property, like commercial property.
Okay.
Because if we left everything stagnant, the Department of Revenue and the legislators have established that we're supposed to be within a plus or minus 5% of market value on our median sales.
Okay.
If we do not fall within that, and we don't rectify that through our own revaluations, the Department of Revenue will issue an order telling us to raise or lower the property by a flat amount across the board.
Wow.
Not considering what Wilton market is, what Muscatine market is, what Stockton market is, and those types of things.
Okay.
So we try to make our adjustments as much as possible localized
Okay.
and specific for the market area.
So the value of your property is fluid, and it goes up and down based on the market around you.
Correctly.
Like, is it similar to when you get an appraisal on your house? They're not really looking, do they like the color of paint and all these different
No.
things? They're looking at the houses that sold in the area that are similar to yours. So you use those same types of valuations?
Exactly. We're doing the same thing, only on, instead of doing the individual property, we're doing what they call a mass appraisal approach. And so we use our statistics, we use the information we have, and we derive the same thing. But in essence, we are both shooting for the same point, market value.
And I would think that one would want, I mean, there's goods and bads with your property value being increased. If you ever want to sell it, of course you don't want your property value to be clear down here. You want it to be accurate for what you believe it's worth. But your taxes also are attached to that.
Yes.
So it's a win.
It's a win-lose situation.
It's a win-lose situation. But I sometimes feel myself explaining to people in the community that your taxes can increase when the county and the city and the school board did not increase theirs.
Correct.
And so that could be because the value of their home
There's another factor that's
increased.
I mean, 15 minutes, 20 minutes is not enough time to explain all the
I
nuances
understand.
of this.
Oh, heavens no.
But there is also, when we assess, say I assess a property at $100,000, the taxable rate of that is set by the Department of Revenue. They do an analysis statewide that limits the growth to 3% in a period of time. And so even though we don't change our values, the rollback may change, which they call the rollback factor. It may go from 55% to 56%.
So they can change that way also.
So that is another way that your taxes can change.
So if you open up your envelope, which we should be getting a new envelope here soon, I'm thinking.
The tax statements should be coming out,
that's
not
what
from
I
my
was
office.
Thinking. Right, from the auditor's office.
Yeah, no, actually those come from the treasurer.
Treasurer. And so when you open up that envelope, if you see it's different than last year, then you need to do some reading.
Right.
And compare it to last year, what went up. Did the cities go up? Did the counties? Did the value go up? Did the valuation?
The taxable portion.
Could be all different
Right.
things. Okay.
Could be all three of them.
Yes, or all.
Yes.
Yes. So what's the biggest question that you get from the community?
Probably the biggest question is, why did you raise my taxes when I haven't done anything?
I bet that is true. Okay.
And our answer is, we're just following what the buyers are setting as the market value,
Sure.
whether it be up or down. And recently, it has been going up. 2 years ago, we were probably running, I want to say, if you want to look at our overall statistics, 103% of market. So that means we're slightly above market.
Okay.
If you looked at our statistics now, we're probably running 98%, somewhere in that range. So that's a shift of 3 to 5% in a couple of years where market values are going up, and we have not kept up with those.
Okay.
We're still within our state guidelines, and it's not our goal to be at the maximum.
No.
Our goal is to be at what we think is a reasonable and fair and equitable market value of the properties.
Sure. Sure. So if somebody gets the statement that shows that the property value went up, what can they do? And they don't agree with it.
Okay, first thing is to consider what is market value of my property, not necessarily how much did it go up, because we have seen situations where things have gotten overlooked in the past, and maybe we missed a neighborhood, maybe we've missed some other things that needed to be adjusted.
Sure.
Or that neighborhood is taken off dramatically compared to the rest. But first of all, you want to look at it and see it as the question, if I was to put this on the market, where would I put it at? And if you're considerably different than where we're at, then your next step would be to contact our office and ask us to review the property. Because sometimes things have taken place, maybe maintenance has been deferred, maybe it was a rental property and the last tenant did something that damaged the property. And so there's a number of things that can affect it. So we need to look at that. Has the neighborhood changed from the last time we were there? So they can call our office. We have to have everything done no later than April 1st. So even though the assessment rolls may go out in March, which we try to get them out mid-March, call us and talk to us.
Okay.
Because we can still make changes at that point.
Oh, okay.
When April 1st comes, a second method of review comes into effect. You have to request that we do an informal review. And the only way I can change the value is if I come out to your property, or my staff comes out to the property, we review it, I say, okay, you're right, we're gonna take this down $5,000, $10,000, whatever it may be. And do you agree with that? If you decide that as a property owner you do not want to agree to that, then I'm done. I can't change the value.
Okay.
But you still have one more option. You can file an appeal then with a local board of review, which is a 3-member board comprised of people independent of our office, and you would come in and present your information to them. You can either have an oral hearing. They typically come out and look at the property so you can talk to them at the property site, and then when they make a decision, whether I'm right, wrong, that you're right, wrong, whatever, or somewhere in between, they'll send a notice out. And if you're still not happy with that, then you have 2 more options. One is you can file an appeal with the State Appeal Board, which is a Property Assessment Appeal Board, or you can take it to district court.
Wow.
And all of this information is on our website. So if you want to look,
how to do that.
Look under protest on the assessor's page.
So people have options.
There are options.
There are options.
And the first option is call us.
Call you, because maybe it was a mistake. Maybe
We have
who knows?
found where a property sold and we put the building on the wrong side of the line because we didn't know exactly where that
Sure.
line. And
We're
yes,
all human. Yes.
there are mistakes,
Sure.
but we try to correct them, and we do
Yes.
have some capability to do that. But the main thing to remember is once you get your assessment notice, that's the time to ask questions. Not when
Don't
you
wait.
Don't wait till you come in to pay property taxes, because there is nothing I can do
No.
at that point.
Say, no, I'm not going to pay these because I disagree with this. Yeah, that's not going to work for you.
No, the
Yes.
Code of Iowa is specific in when I can make changes.
Okay. And I know, Dale, that you go by the book and follow the rules. I know there's very strict rules. It's not like you're just making this up as you go.
No.
There's all these guidelines that you guys have to follow, and 38,000 properties.
28.
28. How much staff do you have?
We have, total in my office, including me, is 6 people.
6 people.
So
Boy,
we are running at,
You're stretched thin.
we could not function effectively with fewer.
Oh, I bet not. And do
you
a
know,
good service to the community.
And still provide the
Yes.
service that we need.
Yes.
So I think that, in retrospect, you look at our budget, if you look at the law, it says we're allowed up to 67.5 cents per thousand for my operation of my office, which is separate from the county, believe it or not.
Really?
It's managed by the school boards. If they have a representative living in the county, the mayors of the incorporated cities, and the supervisors. And each of those units has 1 vote. So say if there's 14 mayors showed up and only 3 supervisors and 2 school board members, the mayors can't dominate by just majority rules. Each entity has 1 vote. And when they set this up back in 1948, it was the wisest thing they did because it keeps politics out of it.
It does.
It really does.
As mayor, I'm on that board, and it is very interesting to see how it works so smoothly. You have the 3 different entities that are the ones that are impacting the taxes.
Yes.
So that makes sense.
Right.
But
right.
the fact that they only get 1 vote as a total,
Right.
you're right. Our founding fathers, I'm sure, did a great job coming up with some of these things, and they've stood the test of time, so they must have been pretty good.
Well, they've come up with some things that have caused us headaches.
That's
too.
true. That is true, but we don't have to focus on those.
No.
Right. How long you been doing this, Dale?
I actually started in Muscatine County in '79,
Wow.
and I was appointed as assessor in '92. So,
Long time.
long time.
You know your business.
Yep, a little bit.
Yeah, I think so. So you're going to put this document that you shared with me that tells us all of that we need to know on how you establish value, how to appeal, even though you said that's already on there, the equalization process, and just some of the general information. You're going to put this packet online
Yep.
for folks. That'll be a
I'll
big
try and
help.
get it on tomorrow, but who
That'd be
knows?
great.
If everything cooperates, some
Sure.
days.
And people really can just pick up the phone and call you, can't they?
Yes.
Any kind of question that they have.
And they do. And the other thing that they do is they look at the Magic site.
Oh,
the
yes.
website. That has generated a lot of questions. but it is also, actually, by implementation of that, we were able to eliminate one position in my office before we went
Very good.
live with the website. So it's
Sure.
been an advantage to all the taxpayers in that it has taken away a lot of our counter traffic. The unfortunate side of that is when we used to have contact with the public all the time, we could respond to questions, they could ask
Sure.
questions, and we would see them, and they would mention things, and we could discuss it. Now, we don't see that so much.
True. There's something to be said about that face-to-face
Yes.
contact. But that magic site's amazing. It comes in real handy when you're making out Christmas cards, when you're trying to find your addresses.
Find your addresses.
It sure does. Well, thank you, Dale, for coming. Is there something that I've missed that you think the folks at home want to know or hear about?
I mean, there is so much. One of the things I guess I would want to mention is, if you're a business owner and you own your property, there's a business property tax credit you need to be aware of. And if there's a change in ownership in any way, say if I owned 3 buildings downtown and side by side and I sold one of them off, I have to re-sign because
Okay.
that terminates that business property tax
So
credit.
get a hold of you.
So anything on that.
Any kind of change, get a hold of
right.
your office.
Otherwise, I mean, it is a very convoluted and confusing system. Trying to explain it and trying to explain different parts of it are very
Sure.
difficult. And sometimes we even struggle understanding some of the parts, especially with the new law. Now, again, there's been changes that are coming up that will affect telecommunications in the future. And so it looks to affect our assessments.
Sure, sure. All right. Well, if something new comes up, will you give us a shout out so you can come back and explain it to us?
I'll give it a try.
Knowledge is power, and the more we can understand how it all works, I just think it helps all of us.
And that has been our philosophy in the office is to educate the people. Nobody likes property taxes.
Of course not.
But at the same time, if you're paying your fair share,
Sure.
it should be fair and equitable. And
Sure.
that is our
Sure.
goal, is to be fair and equitable so that your house is paying approximately the right amount
Right.
compared to my house.
I meet with a lot of students in my role as mayor and explain to them, why do we even have a city? So we don't all have to live out in the country and be our own doctor and lawyer and everything. But when we do come together as a city, we need to have services like our trash picked up and water to our homes and police and fire and all of these things we want. Well, we have to pay for them.
Right. And the other thing to remember is government is around because it's not profitable for anybody else to do it, and therefore
Exactly.
it's not going to get done unless you have
That's right.
government
That's right.
that takes care of some, like say the streets, the police,
Yes.
the fire, those types of things.
Nobody can make money doing that, so we have to pay taxes so we have that service. And we
Right.
all want to be able to pick up the phone and get the help that we need.
Yes. So-
But that's why we got to pay taxes. It's worth it. The services that we get in Muscatine are all good, and I don't think anybody would complain about that.
No.
Well, thank you, Dale.
You're welcome, and if anybody or you have any questions, I offer my assistance at any time I can.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So when can we expect our statement to come out?
The treasurers usually try to get them out last part of July, first part of
Yeah, I was
August.
thinking
That
it was
should be
coming pretty soon.
The deadline that they cut off is like July 1st.
Okay.
So then they're trying to process everything
Sure,
and get
sure.
everything ready to go. One of the bills that just passed last year, which is going to help us down the road, I think,
Mm-hmm.
is the electronic notification.
Okay.
And it's volunteer.
Okay.
It's voluntary for the county, and then it's voluntary for the property owner.
Okay.
So if you want to receive your assessment notice in the
Electronically.
then you'll be able to do that.
So they're not going to force counties to
It's-
offer that, and they're not going to force the homeowners to accept
to
it.
accept it.
Which I love that. I love having choices.
Right.
It's
So that
all-
maybe,
always
and
better.
that is already available through the county
Okay.
treasurer's office
All right.
for the tax statements.
Okay.
But they had to clear up the legislation for the assessment
For the
notices.
assessment. Okay.
So,
Very
other
good.
than that, yeah, just anybody
All
can
right.
come in, talk to us.
And you're located?
Second floor of the administration building, 414 East Third Street.
Perfect. And you're also found on the county's website?
Yes.
All right.
You have to go under government and then find the assessor.
All right.
We try to hide as much as we
Oh,
can.
sure. Thank you, Dale, so much.
You're welcome.
Well, thank you all for joining us. I just wanted to highlight a couple of things that we've got coming up. Don't forget, the Muscatine County Fair is going on right now, even as we speak, and it'll be going on through the 22nd of July. They've got a nice cool down coming up. I heard the weatherman talking about it this morning, so they're all going to be glad for that. There's been so many county fairs that were so hot. Oh my goodness, you couldn't hardly stand it. But they're saying cool down for the next week, so here's what we got. Tomorrow, there's going to be Impact Pro Wrestling. Thursday, FMX Dirt Bikes. Friday, the Tractor Pull. Saturday, Adam Sanders concert. Sundays, the Demolition Derby. And trailer races. So Sunday's the last day. You got to get out there. Get out there sometime this week and enjoy all the things. All of the different shows and the animals that they're showing and all of the crafts and hobbies. They're so fun just to walk around and see some of those things. Also, I'd like to remind you that next week our guests are Tony Tone. And we've had a lot of talks on how to really pronounce his last name. So Loconzo is what I thought, but now I'm hearing Loconzo. So I don't know. We'll find out, but we'll ask him next week. And we also have Nicole Ashby, the Animal Control Officer for Muscatine. She'll be here next week. And Thursday we have a city council meeting at 7, and don't forget 5:30 on Thursday before the council meeting, we have the public meeting at the new library on the Grandview Corridor project. Thanks for joining us tonight. Hope to see you next week here on Our City.
Our City with Mayor Diana Broderson replays on MPW Channel 9, Wednesday at 2 p.m. and 7 p.m. and Thursday at 7 a.m. Of course, we're live every Tuesday at 6:30 p.m. on Facebook. Email us at ourcity@muscatineiowa.gov.